What's up, guys? Welcome back again to the Zeal Cigar Review. Today we're doing one of those videos that is for the future, but we're doing it now because we got the cigars now, but unfortunately they sold out at the PCA. So we're talking about the El Vignette by PDR all next on the Zeal Cigar Review. Beautiful, beautiful presentation if you look at it. You know, and when you look at the cigar, what would you guess the price point is? Just by looking at it.
Off of looks, you would say probably north of 15 bucks.
Yeah, I would say probably 15, maybe $20 at that. But I will say that this cigar comes in around $8.55, you know, which is kind of cool. And the thing I like about the cigar, just from the jump, is that you could take off the footband very, very easily because it's even a closed footband. I like that a lot. Because I hate footbands.
Still got me.
Huh? It still got you a little bit?
Still got me.
Still got you a little bit. So, anyways, one of these days, cigar manufacturers will not put on footbands, and I will be satisfied, and JB will not be annoyed. But we're smoking this El Vignette. Now, this was all the talk. I mean, this has been like 2 years in the making. I believe that Abe Flores from PDR wanted to release it in 2022. Yep. There were some logistical problems, and he couldn't release it, so he released it this year and sold them all out at the show.
The logistical problem was he was hand-picking the tobacco.
Right. So we've never smoked this before. We're going to smoke it and tell you what we think about it. But you know what we got to do in order to do that? We got to cut, light, and smoke.
I want to V-cut it, but it's almost like a square cap.
Well, one of the things
like a flat cap.
It is. One of the things I think that's really interesting about the cigar, it's got a 6-year age wrapper on it. You know, so
Habano Oscuro, if I remember.
That's right, which is really interesting. I don't know that I've had another Habano Oscuro. I'm sure that I have, and just didn't notice it or recognize it. Ooh, on the dry draw, earthy. A tad earthy and musky on the dry draw.
It reminds me of like walking into the shed, like the barn, the small barn that we had built with our carriage in it. It's kind of that smell when you walk into that like building that hasn't been opened for a while.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it back in the Midwest. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Walking in like Grandpa's old garage that hasn't been open for like 4 years.
Oh yeah. Initially, not much pepper whatsoever. Interesting. Really interesting.
You getting peanut butter?
I was getting a little bit of nuttiness, but I'm getting a little bit of a Cuban-esque nuttiness. Do you catch that at all? This is a tad exquisite.
A little spice on the tongue. Maybe like a 3. Yep. Not super crazy.
Yeah, it's got some nuttiness at the very beginning. Like when you talked about that peanut butter, it definitely has that nuttiness at the very beginning of it.
Very light draw for me.
Oh yeah, draw's perfect. Draw's like, out of 10, it's like a 9. It's perfect. Not too loose.
For me, it's like a niche away from being too loose on this one specifically. But Abe wasn't rolling them. He was just bunching them.
Dude, that's really Cuban-esque. I got some really Cuban-esque notes out of this. I can't remember what... Oh, I know what it is. The Epicure number 2 by Hoya... Is it Hoya de Monterrey?
I could see a little bit of that in this. That was actually the last Cuban I smoked.
That's what it tastes like. Initially.
This might have a little more spice to it. If you know, and I'm
as it's growing.
Yeah, or than that Hoya even maybe.
Yeah, it's decent, dude. It's decent.
There's not as much grassiness or anything, but there is a woodiness. An earthy woodiness, that barnyard dirtiness.
Slight caramel, almost cocoa, a little bit. Just teetering on cocoa. But a nice caramel note I just got. Nice caramel. Or caramel, depending on what part of the country and or if from England. Evidently that the Germans really like this because every box that sold out went to Germany.
Huh?
Yeah, all these went to Germany.
You know what I remember the most from like my German class is when they were doing like they were showing kids in Germany on like a video, and it was like each one popped up and said in German what they did and what they liked to do like really well, essentially is how it came out. Yeah. And I just remember like 2 kids. I don't remember the first one's name. I remember the second one's name. And the first one was like, ich heiße, he said what his name was, and he said, ich komme mit dem Moped zur Schule. And he like said it gangster AF, and which meant he rode his moped to school.
Yeah, because that's gangster.
And he
riding your moped.
Well, I mean, when you're 14, it is, dude.
Yeah, I had a moped when I was 14.
Yeah, dude.
I loved it, dude. I loved it.
You can't tell me you didn't ride with other moped gangs,
Dude, I had a 50cc, bro.
I knew a kid that had NOS on his freaking moped, bro. He'd do 55 in a wheelie on that stupid thing.
Right, drop a comment right now below.
No, people
if you
had
think
mopeds.
when you were 14 years old to 16 years old, before you got your license, and you had a moped, were you gangster? Let us know. I think I was the OG.
I'm just saying, when I'm riding around on my red Haro X2 Nyquist edition, and some ding dong rides by on his moped and hits me with the and freaking rolls by, they think they're gangster.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Well, guys, we're going to come back and tell you what the second third of this Robusto El Vignette tastes like in just a moment, so be right back. All right, guys, so we're back, and I am definitely into the second third right here of this El Vignette, and I'm going to tell you this, very Cuban-esque. It does remind me of the Epicure number 2. It really does, from Hoya de Monterrey. It's very, very, very good. I really like it. The ash, I'll put a picture up here. We can take a picture of the ash. The ash was super long on this. Very well put together. The notes on it, like, fluctuate between, like, a creamy nuttiness and then, like, various, like, Cuban-esque
Earthiness.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if I get any mineral.
Okay.
Do you get some mineral?
I would agree with that.
I don't get as much as I would out of a Cuban, I don't think.
Yes, I would agree. A little more grassiness than the prominent note that I'm getting out of here is more like a hay, like a Cuban hay,
or like
a little
woody.
bit of a little bit of woodiness.
There's a lot more woody than I would say I get out of the Cuban.
Right. But I really do enjoy it. It's very pleasurable. But there is a spice to it. I'm not going to say it's like a sweet spice, because I don't think there's anything sweet about the cigar whatsoever. It's creamy and smooth on the retrohale with a tad bit of caramel on there, but not like a tremendous amount that you're going to notice what's really sweet on the retrohale.
Yeah, and that spiciness kind of comes and goes. Sometimes I get it and it's like a little bit more, and then sometimes I get like where it's like there's not much of it at all.
Yeah.
It comes and goes.
And something happened on the burn that I want to show you that I've never seen on a cigar before. I don't know if you can see that little black spot that kind of like it burned through that, and that's still the wrapper. I've never seen that on a cigar before. It kind of looks like a little face right there, but it's really interesting, and it wasn't burning completely perfect. You know, it did burn somewhat perfect, but I'd say that on the burn, I'd probably give it like an 8, not really a 9 or a 10, because the burn was kind of wonky here and there. You had some burn issues as well.
Are you saying Abe didn't bunch these good?
I'm not going to say anything about Abe because I think he's a great blender, but yeah, that's a little bit off. So
I got you, Abe. That beard's flammable.
Well, we're going to come back here in a second and tell you what the final third tastes like in just 1 minute, so be right back. All right, guys, so we are back, and we are at the very end of this El Vignette, and I will tell you 1,000%. I got Cuban sweetness all the way in the final third. I think the final third is one of the most sweeter parts of the cigar. The first third didn't really impress me that much. The second third was way better. The final third, absolute symphony of flavor. I got woodiness, I got nutmeg, I got cinnamon, maybe a little bit what you called like a pretzel almost in there.
Yeah, like the Snyder's pretzels. You know, you take it out of the bag, you get that kind of crunchy, like really bakedness, but there's also kind of like a saltiness in it.
Oh yeah, very, very, very good. Before I give you my value score, JB, what's your final thoughts?
I would say the cigar gets better as it smokes. It's definitely smokable to the nub, 100%.
Okay.
It's got a lot of really unique flavors on. I kept telling Brad, I'm actually having a hard time of really saying, with 100% certainty what I'm getting out of this cigar. It is very similar to the Epicure number 2. I have smoked one of those.
Yes.
So if you've never smoked a Maduro Cuban, this is a very affordable way to do so.
Right.
And accessible way to do so. The tobacco is very premium quality, you can tell.
100%.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, very, very good.
It didn't, I would say it didn't give me the wow with capital letters and exclamation points at the end. But I would say that it's gotten better than I anticipated.
The first third, I was not super wowed by it. The second and the third, or the final third, absolutely wowed
Much
me.
better
It really
cigar,
did,
yeah.
with an exclamation point and all capitals.
Okay.
But I'll say this. So what's your value score? My value score at 855 for the Robusto, a solid 9. Solid 9 all day and twice on Sunday.
Really?
Yes, solid 9. For $8.55,
Okay.
under $10,
Okay.
get the Epicureness, absolutely.
Okay.
What about you, man?
I want to smoke it in another size
Okay.
to give it a really fair shake because I
Okay.
wonder if it's different in another size. I would give it an 8.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
that's
not.
fair.
Yeah, I'll be
That's
generous.
fair.
I mean, there's a lot of other cigars out there that are not under $10 that don't smoke like this. They're with a that are name brand and banded. They just,
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is. And I haven't smoked anything very often that I continue to tell you, like, dude, I don't know what I'm getting out of this.
Right,
It's really
right.
interesting and very different. So
Absolutely.
I think it's worth paying the $8 to smoke. Absolutely.
Well, guys, we want to know if you've ever had the El Vignette. If you've had, drop a comment below. You're probably German if you had. And what other cigars by PDR do you like? Obviously, the El Criollo. This blows the El Criollo out of the water, in my personal opinion. I absolutely believe so. So, for the Zeal Cigar Review, I've been Bradley. This has been JB, and we are out of here. You guessed it, like last year. Peace.
Guten Tag.